Welcome to Phonogenics 101, a Riotboy production hosted by Jeremy Gloff. The podcast where people who love music discuss albums track by track. Please hit subscribe, and if you'd like to support this podcast, patreon.com/Jeremy Gloff or Venmo @Jeremy Gloff. And now, on to the music. Hello, Phonogenics fans. Welcome to Phonogenics 101. I'm your host, Jeremy Gloff, coming in from Tampa, Florida. And as they say on the last track of Eurythmics' Be Yourself Tonight album, it's better to have lost in love than to never have loved at all. And sadly, this was the end of our Eurythmics and Annie Lennox journey that we started. And it's so, just to get a little bit personal, when season 3 of this podcast started, my life was in absolute chaos. I quit my job. I was just had a free spirit summer. It was just, and then September came around and I was juggling a lot of different job offers and I didn't know what I was going to do. But I'd made a list of how the podcast season can go. I picked out the artists I wanted to cover, how they would all time out in the weeks, and here we are at the end, and everything happened just the way I planned it. I'm by faith, I'm let's go forward with this. So it was so nice to meet you all and get to know you, and I'll get a little sentimental. And certainly we will all meet again because we intersect with other artists. And Annie Lennox is supposedly working on a new album with Wendy and Lisa. Of course, the last we heard about that was 2 years ago. Are there any updates on that project? Did she talk about it all in her book press tour?
No.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Well, hopefully that's still a thing, because I'd love to not have nostalgia be the end of Annie Lennox's discography. All right. Well, tonight we are going to talk about 2 albums, and then we're going to talk about a little, some of the odds and ends. A Christmas Cornucopia. I didn't even know what a cornucopia was. This album came out. Yes, I was a dumbass. I had to Google. Of course, it's the thing that the fruit comes out of, right? In Thanksgiving.
That's right.
All right. And
It's
then
also a melange. It's
a menage.
Thanks.
And then a couple years after that, she had Nostalgia. Before we hit record, I was talking about how a lot of artists I loved went through this phase where they would do a Christmas album, then an orchestra album. Annie Lennox did it. Tori Amos did hers. Cyndi Lauper had hers, within the same decade, kind of. So I guess it was a decade earlier than Annie's, but it just seemed to be a trend with people I loved. And it's weird because Annie Lennox, we start off with In the Garden, such an edgy, punk album. And here we are, listening to Christian Christmas songs. It was just, when I was driving my car, I'm this is weird. But anyway, let's get started. Lynn, you had your hand up.
Well, I was saying, in the late 80s, I saw Linda Ronstadt at the Hollywood Bowl with the Nelson Riddle
yeah.
Orchestra doing her album, which was all standards. It was wonderful.
Right. And I feel
I think she was the first of the group.
I think the first one was Carly Simon's Torch, wasn't it, in 1981? It wasn't very popular, but then Linda had her trilogy, the What's New, Lush Life, and around.
Well, yeah, What's New was in that, but that was in the Nelson Riddle. Yeah.
Oh, I bet that was a great show, Lynn.
It rained, actually, and so there was one point where it was, I forget the song, but it was about rain, and so she had to put an umbrella up. We had to put umbrellas up. So it was pretty good.
Did her voice just fill up that room?
It did. The outdoors. It was outdoors, so it was beautiful.
My next podcast after this one, I have 2 more episodes this season, is the trio album with Linda Ronstadt, Dolly Parton, and Emmylou Harris. Just such a great album.
I said the Hollywood Bowl. It was the Greek Theater, not the Hollywood Bowl.
All right, so from what we were chatting about before we hit record, it seems like we're probably not going to go track by track with this album. We'll just talk about highlights. Now, Mark, on a past episode, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like you described the Christmas album as a masterpiece. Am I imagining things, or did you actually say that?
It's a masterpiece.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. And to go back to what you were just saying a moment ago, Annie Lennox, Annie Lennox's Christmas album is avant-garde, is um, the epitome of what Annie Lennox has always been, because what she did is what no one does. It is an album of traditional Christian hymns for the great majority, for
Right.
the most part. No one does that. No one does what she did. And in the world of pop music, what generally happens is that someone does a Christmas album that they recorded in 2 weeks because it'll sell and it'll make the record company happy. She spent a year on this. This is something that was immensely dear to her, that she'd wanted to do for a long time. And the things that she did with this album are absolutely incredible. And the take that she did on them. And I know it's not for everyone. So I think you fall into, for the most part, I think people fall into two categories. It's not for me, or it is one of the best things that she ever did. And I adore it. I could listen to it anytime. But I don't. I don't want it to lose its, but it's coming up close to where I'll start listening to it.
Put this in holiday
Mark.
pie, Mark.
Do what?
Put this in a holiday pie.
With a holiday pie or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Patty LaBelle's pie.
Was-
Do you with Patty? Do you listen to
Yeah.
it with Patty's pie?
No,
I was
no.
going to ask Mark. I was going to ask Mark if he started listening to this album when he started watching the Lifetime Christmas movies on July 1st.
Oh, I skipped that.
I want to echo something Mark said, that with Annie Lennox, when she puts out something, there is no one else out there that has what she has compiled together for a release. And that's with any album. I mean, starting with Diva. Think about what she did on Diva. There was nobody else that was doing what she did on Diva. When she put out Cornucopia, there was nobody else that was putting out in the manner that she was putting out, with the dedication that she has to her music and to her recordings, that anybody else does or has done. I mean, Mark is right on the mark with that comment.
All right, Lynn, and then David. I think your hand was up.
One thing is, Mark was talking, and it comes to me that Cornucopia is the carols on this are distinctly British, and so to an American audience, most of them might not be familiar with American listeners, because they're not even if it's a carol that we know. I mean, I'm talking as the Americans. It may have different verses and things, and then when you parallel this, get kind of with nostalgia, which is distinctly American. They're all American songs. Because one of the things Steve Gaylor said is, I couldn't relate to nostalgia because it was all American songs.
Yeah.
And he didn't know it as well.
That's a point. That's a really good point on both those.
Yeah. But there are some songs, I mean, the God Rest You Merry Gentlemen, it's just like perfect. A pagan carol with a bitchin' backbeat. You know, it's a great song. But all of them are I mean, I'm not as big a fan as Mark, but I do listen to it every year. In fact, I'm holding it up. Nope, you can't see because I'm blocked.
Oh.
There we go.
Yeah, and there's of course the two versions. The original was a 2010, and then there's the 10-year anniversary edition that has the bonus track. So here's the two. Mark, David, your hand was up.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, if as far as Christmas albums go, if I threw Christmas parties, or like where I would play a Christmas album, which I don't actually, play Christmas albums, I would definitely play this one. It's really good. And whatever Annie does it great, so it's worth a listen to for anybody watching this, if they like Christmas albums, check it out. It's a really good one.
I think the thing was, Eurythmics gave us that really great version of Winter Wonderland
Yeah, on a very
on
special Christmas.
special Christmas. And I think, she said she was doing a Christmas album, so we didn't know what that was going to be. And when I first saw the track listing, it was like, and I knew most of these, but I didn't know LNA. Actually, I should have, because I'd heard it before, but I didn't know I'd heard it before. And I didn't know As Joseph Was a Walking. I knew most of them. But, if she had given us 10 tracks of Winter Wonderland version of types of Christmas carols, yeah, she would have done it great, and we would have been great. And, and I put a little Love in Your Heart in there because that was with a Christmas movie, and it was out at Christmas, so I always think of it very much as a Christmas song. It's not that I don't think we would have been happy with it. I think a lot of people would have been happy with it. And if you grew up with religious carols, and I did, and I loved them, and I think it has another meaning for you. And I'm not talking necessarily religiously at this point. I just mean the really exceptional songs. These are really well written songs, and there was some people there was some complaints from oh, she's singing too loud. You're supposed to. Literally, the directions on some of these songs are that you sing with exaltation. So these are those kinds of songs. And but Lynn mentioned, God Rest You Merry Gentlemen. Oh my goodness. Who could have done that? And there are several people that have done them, that has done that song, but nobody's done that. Nobody's done that like
in the video.
And the video. The video
oh
is a Christmas, a Victorian Christmas card come to life, pagan imagery. It's just, and she, again, it's Annie Lennox. She plays the major part. She plays angels in it. She plays a mother. It's Annie again, doing what she does so best. You have to like, oh wait, that's Annie. Oh, and that's Annie. Oh, and that's Annie. Oh my God, the 10th anniversary where they rearranged the songs to get Dido's Lament in, they changed it on all the versions where it actually opens with God Rest You Merry Gentlemen, which I think was probably a good idea in that sense, that it's such a strong song on it. But, yeah, I just, and I should say too, the 10th anniversary edition, and that was cool. And I love, I'd never heard Dido's Lament. And she does a beautiful version of it. And she did a beautiful version with the London, a London choir. If you've not heard that, look that up. All done during COVID, where, she sings with, 100 voices from a different choir.
Right.
And it's very exceptional. There is one complaint that I've read on Amazon where I think it's sort of like in the middle of the album. And so it's not a Christmas song at all.
No.
It's not a Christmas song at all. She just happened to record it, apparently, while they were doing it. She apparently came in one day and said, hey, I want to record Dido's Lament. And so they did, and they kind of remembered that they had it and said, oh, we'll stick it on here. And I'd read a review on Amazon, and somebody said, it doesn't make sense. Why is this song? Right. So I think it would have made a lot of sense that should have been the last song on the album and listed bonus track. because it did make a lot of sense to be in the middle of it. But I think it's nice, and it was lovely to get something. Annie Lennox doesn't give you a lot of extras. She doesn't do a lot of extras. She doesn't do a lot of demos or things. So when you get something extra, you're like, oh, I'll take that and run with it.
And just one quick thing is, I listened to this on my way to work, and the Spotify track listing is even different than the CDs. It opens with Universal Child.
Oh, really?
Oh,
How
wow.
Yeah, and it goes into a few different things. So I'm like, oh shit. So I had to go back and listen to the album twice because I wanted to hear it how it originally was. Okay, we're gonna do Jim and then Lynn.
Okay.
Yeah, that was one thing I was going to say. The version I have, excuse me, sorry, allergies. Mine opens with Universal Child too, and for me, Universal Child is like Titles Lament. It really doesn't belong on the album because to me that's not really a Christmas song either. It was when did she what premiered that on the Grammys or something? Um,
American
even
Idol, I think.
before. Okay,
Oh,
yeah, that's right, American Idol, and it just wasn't. It's not a Christmas song. I really don't feel like it belongs on there. Now, stepping back to what Mark and Lynn were both saying, like God Rest You Merry Gentlemen, great song, great version of that song. And I've noticed with a lot of these songs, he took some creative liberties with these songs. And I liked that. I don't know if it was actually her or if it might be like a different cultural version of the song. So, like, for example, "Oh Little Town of Bethlehem." I see that on there. I'm like, God, I love that song. This could be great. It is nothing like the version I sang, in the neighborhood, you know, choir that went door to door singing Christmas carols. This was totally different. Not that I don't like it, it just took some time to get used to because it was not the version I was used to. Same thing with Angels from the Realms of Glory. I know that as Angels We've Heard on High. Um, and what was the other one? Lule, Lule, that's Coventry Carol, and
Right.
which she does have in parentheses there. But it just was very, very interesting. Never heard of um oh goodness, what was it? Oh, okay. Joseph as Joseph Was Walking. Had never heard that song, but the way that song builds uh to the end of
Mhm.
it, a lot of the songs do this where it like builds layer after layer after layer, and then you've got this complex composition, you know, of these songs that just
Yeah.
it shakes you almost sometimes, and that's what it did with As Joseph Was Walking. I'm listening to this and like I've never heard this song before, and it's like every layer just pulled me in
Yeah.
deeper and deeper and deeper. I loved that song. I loved Angels from the Realms of Glory. Of course, the first
Yeah.
Noel is great. Silent Night is great. Holly and the Ivy. I'm still deciding on a little Town of Bethlehem. I mean, it's not bad. It's just not the version I know. Um, and God, yes, God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. Also, very, very good on this album. I mean, just those songs alone would make me put this on if I just felt like I was in the mood of hearing a Christmas album, or if I had some people over for dinner and it was Christmas time and I wanted some Christmas music. Those songs alone would be enough for me to put this album on. And back to Jeremy, you were saying something about, we've heard the stuff that Annie produced with the Eurythmics. We heard, some of her solo stuff, and then you get to this album and it's totally different. Think about when who was it? Mannheim Steamroller came out with the Christmas album back in the early '80s. Same
Right.
thing. This goes to Mark's point. That is something that no one had ever heard before. First of all, an all electronic Christmas album that was all instrumental
Right.
for the most part. For the most part,
Mhm.
and this falls smack dab into that same category. It's a very unique um, realm for artists to be in. And if you can be in that realm, I think that is just a mark of whether it's recognized or not, the mark of a very talented artist or talented artistry.
I feel like on the spectrum of Christmas albums, like this is totally on the opposite end of like the Mariah Carey. Now I am a Mariah fan, but like completely opposite end of the spectrum. Lynn.
Two things. I was kind of just address Jim with the little town of Bethlehem. Was it English lyrics that kind of threw you? Were they English lyrics instead of the American lyrics?
No, it was actually the whole piece itself. I mean, even the arrangement's totally different than what, you know, I used to sing as a kid.
Okay.
Mine is "Oh Little Town of Bethlehem."
Yeah.
This was nothing. Sorry, my voice is horrible today. Was nothing like that, and which is fine. It gave me a new sense of what that song could be. But I was just wondering, in general, is that maybe a more original version of the song and not an Americanized version of that song?
Yeah, it
I
was a little
don't think
powerful.
so. I think she added, and I particularly like that song on, and it is a totally different. I think she just changed up the melody, and if that's I don't know if that's the right the arrangement rather. She changed the arrangement on it, and I think takes it to new heights. Actually, I like how it builds, and in each verse. I've never, and I've got loads of sheet music for Christmas stuff, and I've never ever seen that arrangement. So I think it's an original arrangement from her. I could be wrong, but I think so. And it's so interesting that you brought that one up. And I really think the Lule Lule, the Coventry Carol, which I loved Alison Moyet's version from.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And
Respectful Christmas.
but again, Annie Lennox, she's she's not going to do it like that. And this is the story. This is a song about King Herod killing all the young baby boys because he'd heard that there had been a king born and he was going to take care of it. This is the biblical story, and this is, so Annie takes this and all of the stuff that she's done in her work with AIDS and causes, and she looks at it from a different aspect, and it comes from, and you've got these drums and this harsh melody with it. I mean, and she takes it and she makes it her own, and she's like, I'm gonna talk about it like this. This is a song about children being killed, and it is a Christmas song. It's based on that. But I mean, again, as you said, who does that? She makes it her own. So,
Right.
Go ahead, Lynn.
I just wanted to circle back because the one thing that I thought when this came out was Annie's a lot more traditional than we might think.
Yeah.
I think there's a thought that we think Annie's just like way out there, but I, follow Instagram, and she has a tree full of ornaments and she gives them to her daughters and stuff like that. And I think a lot of what she does is homage to her kids. I mean, so I think that was sort of this is
Right.
another sort of thing for her children and maybe her grandchildren as well, not only for the public, but for them.
And looking backwards, maybe like a memory of her own childhood. So like,
Yeah.
passing it on to the next generation, but remembering the past ones.
Yeah,
And her
because she
grandmother.
had a pretty traditional, albeit austere, childhood.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and what does she say in the liner notes? She makes the point, I'm not a Christian.
Yeah.
She's not singing these songs because they're Christian songs. She's not one. In fact, she has said, that she's an atheist, basically. And it's exactly what that is, Lynn. This is oddly enough, we're going to be talking about it in a minute. This is nostalgia for her.
Yeah, this is her nostalgia. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, Jared. She grew up with it. I'm certain that she and her children sat around the piano and sang Christmas carols. I have no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And there is, we should mention, one of the Christmas flexi disc from the fan club, 1985 or 86, I think. She sings God Rest You Merry Gentlemen about a minute at the piano.
That's right.
Totally different version. You know, she's just at the piano. I think Dave introduces it and says, "Here's Annie. She's recorded a Christmas song or something at great expense. Here it is, Annie." And it's do 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 do, you know, and she's on the piano and she sings this beautiful little minute of God Rest You Merry Gentlemen. So, what does that tell us? This is an important song to her at Christmas.
Yeah.
Took it to a whole other level on the album, but anyway, I think the album has gained a lot of respect over the years and has grown with a lot of people. It's not going to be on a lot of people's playlist, just because it is a totally different kind of thing. You know, so
it was moderately successful
my
though.
tree every year with it.
Yeah, it was successful, it
sold like 100-something thousand copies, right?
I don't even know.
Okay.
But it was well enough that the record company said, "Yeah, we'll do a 10th anniversary edition of this with all new, you know, sleeve and all that kind of stuff." So, you know, that's pretty cool.
Now, let's say for a little bit of historical reference, this was her first album on a new label, right? After being with the same label for many decades. So it's interesting. I wonder if like the label wanted her to do this, or she approached them to do a Christmas album. Does anybody know?
I think she approached them. But I think, you know, anybody who's lucky enough to get her, whatever she wanted to do, they weren't going to say no.
Sure.
And I doubt she went to any record company that was going to think they were going to tell her what to do.
Yeah.
So I think she earned that. And that's why she left Sony. I don't think she thought that they were giving her what she wanted, and she said, "Okay, see ya."
Yeah, she wasn't happy about the promotion of the last album, right? The Master.
No, I don't think so. Right? Yeah.
I just have one more thing to say about this one. When we talked about Medusa, I felt like, we felt like some of her investment in the songs was a little tentative, but she gave it all on this album. Like, listening to her performances, if she would have given this much in Medusa, I can't imagine what Medusa would have been, because like she was 2,000% invested in these songs. Like, what great strong performances from her. When I was listening to her singing, I was like, this might be the most invested I've heard her since who knows when. You know what I mean? Like, there was some stuff on Mass Destruction, of course.
Yeah.
And of course, every solo album, but like she really, really tore into these songs in a way that was unique to this album. How do you feel about her actual performance here? Like, it was strong, very strong to me.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel that I was thinking that when I was listening to Nostalgia, about the Medusa, because I was worried about Nostalgia from the beginning, because, in the podcast on Medusa, I wasn't the biggest fan.
Right.
Or I think I was more there with Mike, who I wish was here.
Yeah, shout out.
But yeah, I think the performances, in Nostalgia, just like in this one, so good.
Well, any other thoughts on A Christmas Cornucopia? Any standout tracks anyone wants to mention or anything? I mean, God, Rest You Merry Gentlemen. When I heard the album when it came out, but when I re-listened to it, I was like, holy shit! Like, she showed up on this album. Like, she did not phone this in. Like, it's so.
Oh,
Yeah.
Annie never does what you expect, but like, who would have thought that it would take a Christmas album to like get her excited about music? And she played a lot of instruments on this album, so I feel like it was probably a lot of fun for her to make this.
Yeah, I think it probably was, wasn't it? That's a good point. I think she did have a good time.
And also maybe like she was freed from the constraints of like writing about her pain and the struggle of the world and the struggle of her life. And it might have, she just got to sing and be a singer instead of a channeler of emotion and angst. or
Good point.
joy or whatever.
Well, there's some angst.
I was
on
going
it,
to,
Yeah, yeah,
I was
different.
going to say, my before we started the podcast, the song I did not like the most on this was Coventry Carol, because in my mind it was like this song is too in my face.
Mm.
The production, the arrangement of this is too in my face. But after Mark and Lynn kind of echoed it, the whole idea that Annie's not singing these songs as these, romanticized Christmas songs. She's singing the songs as the story, the lyrics tell you. And now that I understand that, I have a whole different look on Coventry Carol, and I'm going to have to go back and listen to it again and take that whole idea of it's too strong, it's too too in my face right now. Take that whole idea out, listen to it just for the lyrics, and kind of readjust my idea on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, listen to it as a story and how she's taking that. And because again, I loved Alison Moyet's version. That's a version that you can sit back and let it wash over you. Still, she's talking about the subject matter, but
Right.
Anne puts in these drum beats, and it's the drums of war, sort of.
Yeah.
So it's a different take on it, but yeah.
Now, I feel like we should mention a little bit Universal Child. That's the last recorded Annie Lennox original with lyrics, right? To date.
She did a soundtrack song.
Okay.
Um, um, somebody,
Kate Blanchett song.
what was it, Lynn?
The Kate Blanchett movie? Is that what you're trying to think of?
It's not Kate Blanchett, is it?
Oh,
The war. It's about the correspondent, the war
yeah,
correspondent.
wasn't that Kate Blanchett? Let me look.
I don't think so.
Now, what's the main hook of this song?
Know what that song is.
She says, I wish more kids could not be like. What's she saying here?
Um, um,
I thought it was
I wish every child. Oh shoot! I should know this.
I know I should too, but I thought it was a weird line. I wasn't quite sure what she was trying to say.
I think what she's trying to say, and I think I agree with you. It is kind of a weird line. I think what she's saying is, that I wish every child could know joy and peace and love, and is what I think that's what she's saying, but it is an oddly worded line. Let me look it up here.
Oh, I wish to God that kids like you could be like everyone.
Yes, I think what she's saying is, and she's talking about children who, who don't have a lot, who are poor, who have lived through bad things in bad places. And I think she's just saying that they could be like, all the other kids at Christmas,
Okay.
all the other, I guess, like her children, like I wish, I think it's that sentiment that,
Okay.
that you want. But I agree with you. It's kind of odd line.
There's a promo single, which I actually have coming in the mail that has a single edit, because I always like to collect like the various single edits. I didn't even know that existed until I ended up on Discogs.
There is a really good remix to it that I really love. It's like totally out there, danceable.
Oh.
And to me, it gives it joy.
Okay.
And if you remember, that's the cool thing especially about early Eurythmics. We've talked about it before, that you get this, this funky beat, and then it's kind of, the lyrics are kind of serious. Love is a stranger, a little bit of a toy piano at the, So I'm not sure it wouldn't have helped the song a little bit to have had that juxtaposition, because sometimes I think, like I'm saying, it's a really great dance remix. Look it up. But it just kind of makes you want to move and pay more attention. So because I do think it's the weakest song on the album.
Yeah, overall, I don't want to say it's an edgy album, but it's an old album, like an ancient album. You know what I mean? Like it's conjuring old time, and that some of the arrangements are very edgy. And I felt like Universal Child was kind of bordering a little bit on the adult contemporary, which isn't
very much
the taste. If that's the closing track, that's the taste it leaves in your mouth. And I think that does a disservice to the album a little bit.
I agree. Yeah.
Well,
I
I'm
think it might have
trying to
been better
find the
as
name.
a single.
Oh, sorry.
I think it might
Sorry.
have been better as its own single.
yeah.
Yeah. What what
Any
Lynn?
other thoughts on? Oh yeah, go ahead, Lynn.
No, I'm just saying I'm trying to find the name of that
Oh,
other
that's
song nominated, but I can't find it.
well. Any
Okay.
other thoughts
Is
on
it
Christmas
Lost?
Lost?
No.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Any thoughts on Christmas Cornucopia? Or are we gonna do our rating scale of 1 to 10? Phonogenics.
Well, you know what mine is.
You're going with a 10. All right.
Going with a 10, yeah.
Shit, David.
Okay, all right. So I'm just gonna preface it with, Annie Lennox, no matter what, she should get at least. I'm gonna give it a 7, no, an 8, just because it's Annie, and I gotta respect that, I'm not usually into Christmas albums, but there's some gems on here for sure. And that video,
Yeah.
to echo that video is just,
Yeah.
so I'll give it an 8.
All right, Lynn. 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shit.
Okay.
9, 10. Mark pulled me over to 10.
I know, Mark. You're a persuasive bitch. What can I say? What can I say?
He's
All
my
right.
concert husband. He pulls me over.
Shit.
Yeah, yeah.
You're pulling me over too. Okay, Jim.
Well, yeah, I'm probably gonna say like 8. I'm gonna agree with David. Before I started re-listening to it, I was gonna give it like a 5 or a 6.
Right.
But just again, listening to it 10 years later as mature or maturing more, I guess.
Sure.
It's an 8, and that probably will grow as I listen to it even more. I mean, if we were to do this again next year, you know, it could be a 9 or a
It could be
10.
a 9.
Just need more time with it. But yeah, it's at least an 8.
Well, my friend Jeffrey Dicker, who by the way said he refused to be on this podcast because he hates both these albums. uh he always accuses me of rating things too generously. But, as the world keeps moving forward into, things are getting more modern and more technology and faster and blah blah blah. To have this album that's really rooted in ancient tradition, and she wasn't going for of the moment arrangement. She was really rooted in something ancient and haunting. I'll give it a fucking 10. I'll give it a 10.
Wow.
I thought I was gonna give it a 4 before the podcast. Son of a bitch. All right. So, all right. A couple. Oh, Lynn, go ahead.
I remember it's A Private War was the other thing she did a song for. And the actresses, I'm trying to see who the actress is. I can't see the actress. Rosamund Pike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the song is called Requiem for a Private War. I'm looking at it right
Yes.
now.
Yes.
Is it a good song?
I've not heard it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a good song.
All
It's
right.
not a pop song.
So
Yeah, it's a serious song.
5 years go by, correct? Was it 5 years? And then we get an album that was first released on vinyl. They did a vinyl release. Then it came out on CD 3 weeks later. And when this came out, I'm like, just what we need. Another album of standards. Shit.
I think
Now I'm gonna give this like Christmas Cornucopia. When I listened to it, I was like, oh shit. But I will say, like, nostalgia to me, I had played. I thought her performances were good, but these kind of songs just never have been my cup of tea. And it's not nostalgic for me because this was a time before my generation, so I have no entry point into this.
Yeah.
And to me, it just seems like a Rod Stewart adult contemporary kind of move. Like, she didn't, to me, really do her own slant on these as much as she did with the Christmas songs. But anyway, how did everyone else? What's everyone else's take on this one?
I'll go.
Okay.
Okay. So, like I said, maybe in the I just listened to it for the first time today. This one kind of, slipped by me. And it's, I mean, I enjoyed listening to it, right? I did. I enjoyed listening to it. And I pretty much listened to it like with everything that I did today. And I enjoyed it. Will I go back to it? Like, am I gonna like listen to it regularly anymore? Probably not. The one thing, because I probably won't talk about most of the songs, but I Put a Spell on You, like
Oh, that live version.
I know that that one's been covered, like many times. The only ones that I was actually aware of the first time I heard it was Brian Ferry's version.
Oh,
And then the next time I heard it was Bette Midler. Those are because I've heard those several times. And out of the three, I will say that Annie's is my favorite. And I will listen to I Put a Spell on You again, because I love that song. And when I want to hear that song, it'll be this version.
now speaking of that, David, I remember she did a live version of that on an award show, and it went viral. Like everyone, I remember people posting all over my Facebook that weren't even Annie Lennox fans. Like, you think the young singers today can sing? Watch this. So, did that cross anyone else's radar as a viral video?
Well,
Well,
it was
Hosier, that was brilliant with Hosier and Annie.
Yes.
it was
Brilliant.
it was the Grammys,
It was
and
the Grammys. It was wonderful.
she got
Annie
on.
just slayed.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna YouTube
Like,
it
let's
for
see a
sure.
pro come in.
I think it's hard to YouTube because of the Grammy,
No.
but
Yeah.
there is somewhere you can find it online. Do a search. I'll try to find it and put it in the thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
That'd be great.
I mean, and it was interesting, and I just found this out. The Grammys had wanted her to duet with Hosier, and but they weren't and the album was nominated for what was it, best traditional album. She was up against Lady Gaga and
Oh, Tony Bennett.
Tony Bennett.
Oh.
So if they hadn't had that, Annie probably would have won the Grammy, but she didn't. But she was nominated. But they weren't even asking her to sing this song. They were asking her to sing one of the songs from Medusa. Oh, I don't think it was Train in Vain. Oh shoot! I just found this out. Sorry. What did Jim say earlier about getting older or something more mature? I can't remember anything now. Years ago,
Say that part.
but but anyway, yeah, that she got on all these talk shows after the performance. It was she was just a few days later was on a tribute to Stevie Wonder, and she performed on that. I don't even think she was supposed to have been on that. I think that
Right.
out of that. She if you find the video, Taylor Swift's on the front row. She jumps up at the end and is just clapping. The whole theater is on its feet at the end.
Yeah, it was viral. I mean, everyone was.
Well
that was
deserved.
that's what everyone was talking about from that Grammys was Annie's performance.
And her age, and I think so she knocked it out of the park.
She sure did. It was incredible.
And the concert in March that I went to in London,
Yes.
Hosier was the special unnamed guest that and they did the same. They did his song followed by I Put a Spell on You. Basically, they redid the Grammy performance.
Okay.
Which was really cool. But yeah, she again Annie Lennox. She does, you're not even expecting it. But some people said, "Oh, I feel so sorry for Hosier," because it was his big year, and But I think
he felt badly. I think he looked honored to me.
Yes, he did. He absolutely did. I think people thought, "Oh well, she got all the glory," but he loved every second of that, So, and she adored him, So.
Well, you think of that song, "Take Me to Church," is what we're talking about.
Yes.
Lyrically, that could be a Eurythmics song too. It is such a great song. I love that song.
Me too.
I just fell off my
He's
chair.
still doing pretty well on the indie channel, so he's not
Oh yeah.
he's not suffering right now.
No. Yeah. We should note that a slightly different version of I Put a Spell on You was on the on what was the soundtrack? the shade of
Fifty
shade
Shades of
50
Grey.
Shades of
50.
Grey.
Sorry, 50. I've not seen these movies. 50 Shades of Grey, the soundtrack for the current movie at the time, and it's a slightly remixed version, just slightly different.
What's on that?
I put a spell on you. It was,
Oh, okay.
and and you can, and if you wanted to download it from iTunes or whatever at the time, you had to buy the whole album. You couldn't just buy that track. They knew what they had. Like, oh, gonna have to buy the whole album to get this. So there is a slightly different version, just a little bit of a beat different, but a great first single from the album. Yeah.
So speaking of singles, my one little collectible I have is the Georgia on My Mind, the promo single that has the single edit. It took me a long time to find this one. So
Oh, I don't have that. Ooh,
yeah. Now, Jim, before we hit record, you said something interesting about the track list of the album. So I think that would be interesting to talk about.
Yeah, I'm sitting here listening to this song, and I am from an era where, I did recognize a lot of these songs. I mean, my parents listened to them, and I was familiar with them because just I've always had varied musical tastes growing up. But if you're listening to this album, you have all these great songs like "Georgia on My Mind" and "I Put a Spell on You," and it's almost kind of a little bit of a "It's a Wonderful World" feel to it. And then you hit smack dab in the middle of the album, "Strange Fruit," and you've got this song that is so dark and about lynching, African Americans, and it was almost disturbing. And then you had to come back with, "Oh, God Bless the Child." It's next. And I can understand why she put those two together. I mean, it really does make sense. But
Yeah.
I don't know, with all the kind of and I could be wrong. I may not know some of these songs as well as I think I do, but it just seems like most of the songs are a little bit lighter. Um, and then you have this really dark piece of coal, smack dab in the middle of this album that just kind of takes you from here. Where's my hand? From here to here,
Right.
and like
It's a vibe
riding free
killer.
fall. Yes, like riding free fall at Six Flags or something, and it takes a couple songs to get you back up after hearing "Strange Fruit," and plus the way she sings it, you understand like every single lyric in this song, and you realize, oh, this is what the strange fruit are. Oh, this is why there's blood on the roots. Oh, this is, it just was. It was a little bit of a scary but an amazing moment for me on listening to that album
Yeah.
for the 10 years later, and kind of having a more mature look at it.
And I think it gives you this idea too that, again, Annie Lennox doesn't do anything normal. That nostalgia here means something totally different sometimes than the Christmas album did. That nostalgia in this case was this time period of when most of these songs were written, the 30s and 40s, not all of them, but a lot of them, and that we're talking about specific time periods. This song that you're talking about, "Strange Fruit," and specifically, what is it talking about? She's not using that in a positive way. That it's a testament to the time when these were recorded and what did some of them mean. Not all of them. Not all of them, of course, are anything about this theme. But I totally agree. It's a hard song. It's a hard.
Absolutely.
It is not. It is not a song that I'm going to play very often at all because, again, as Jim said, I mean, she is earnest in her delivery, and she looks at it in a different way. She does take it a little bit from even the AIDS epidemic that she's talking about, injustice, and but it's a very difficult song. But it's a difficult song to begin with. That's how it's written. It isn't. It is a. And but what is the cover? It's behind Jim there. Look at the cover of that album. The dark clouds, the darkness. That's she's in a black coat. So and so it's yeah, it's a difficult song.
And I think there's, of course, this conversation because that, as a white woman to sing that song, I feel like Annie Lennox can though.
Mm-hmm.
Almost can't. You know what I mean? Like when I heard it, I'm like, but I feel like she's a humanitarian enough where, okay, like Annie can touch on this and does feel the empathy and the pain there. But it was a daring choice for her to do that.
But could an American white woman sing that song?
Right.
There's an interesting thought.
Yeah, right.
That's a good point. That's very
because a British white woman is just that step behind. Not that Britain hasn't done some horrible things too, but that's our history.
Yeah.
It would be, and not that far back, 100 years ago.
And some people even stepped out of this podcast because they felt like the subject matter, I don't want to say it was too American, but this is a very American album from a British woman.
Oh, Steve, you mean?
Yeah. And, that's an interesting take on it. And I can't say that I disagree with him in some ways.
Well, and Steve's a very, very wonderful, wonderful person who's extremely, extremely busy. So, too, that's a lot of it.
Sure, of course, yeah.
Yeah. It's not that he said poo-poo on this. He would love to.
Although he might say poo-poo on it, right?
Even if he did, that's his opinion, and he's
he's certainly entitled to his opinion.
So yeah,
he just didn't resonate with this album. He said he did listen to Cornucopia.
Yeah, and as an American, I didn't really resonate with this album either. Not like Cornucopia. It just it seemed like another one in a stack of albums that were kind of like this that collect dust no matter who the artist was. I like one song. Yeah, go ahead then.
Oh, sorry. Well, like I said before we started recording, I have a lot of Southern in me. My mother's from Southern Georgia, Valdosta. And so Georgia on my mind, my mother, this is all this stuff that we listened to. And my mother loved Georgia on my mind and all this in summertime and we did not listen to Strange Fruit, I will tell you, but other things, The Nearness of You, Mood Indigo. So a lot of these I knew. In Memphis in June, I thought that was a lovely version of Memphis in June. It's a lovely opening because it's sort of, it has sort of sort of like a radio in the beginning of it.
Yep.
And it takes you away because I think it sort of takes you to a different time. That's what I thought of the Memphis in June. So I liked a lot of the songs because they reminded me of my mother who married a Yankee and moved out of the South when she was 20.
See, I think it's always suspect when an album, like when I heard Georgia on my mind, I'm like, oh shit, I really want to go watch Designing Woman. Like,
you really
that was my take. I want to watch Designing Woman. And then when Summertime came out, I'm like, oh man, I really want to listen to Lana Del Rey's version of Doing Time, which is her version of so like this album kept making me think of other things that I wanted to watch or listen to.
Porgy and Bess, Summertime. Yeah.
And then Joni Mitchell did a version in her Gorge concerts. But Annie doesn't do a bad version of a song. Like everything she did here, and her performances are strong. Like she didn't Medusa it and half-heart it. She did fully dive in.
When I first read the track listing before the album was released, it was Georgia on my mind that I'm like, okay, I'm not sure about this. Because I did know Georgia on my mind, of course, and I did know it, as Jeremy just said, from Designing Women.
Yep.
That's the sound.
Dixie Carter. But
but I would say this, Jeremy, and I did go to the LA concert where she performed it, the entire album for PBS. She takes these songs live, as she always does, to another level. Mm-hmm. I thought she's a little safe with some of these. I thought Georgia on My Mind live is and one of my favorite song on this album is September in the Rain. And if you go and find original versions of that song, it's kind of goofy. It's kind of a, kind of a little ditty. And she makes it this totally romantic, oozing and romance. I love it. I would love if she were performed sort of a mix of September in the Rain and then moved elegantly into Here Comes the Rain Again. It would fit so perfectly. But she made that song completely her own. I urge you, just go to YouTube, just like Annie did, to discover a lot of these songs and find original versions of September in the Rain. Totally, totally different song. She turns it into something else. And I want to blow your mind a little bit, because when Sweet Dreams was number one was 42 years ago last month, Sweet Dreams would have been number one, 42 years. And if you think about that and you go back 42 years before, that's when a lot of these songs that she covered on Nostalgia, a lot of these songs were popular. And so if you go back 42 years, the number one song from 42 years before Sweet Dreams was Jimmy Dorsey and his orchestra.
Oh, interesting.
Called Green Eyes. So, it's that giant leap, was music 42 years? And the leap from Sweet Dreams to now does not seem like that kind of a leap.
Yeah.
We're still in the modern world of music. But I think even the September in the Rain, by the way, if you watch that PBS performance, what she does with September in the Rain, it makes me cry.
Oh, shit.
You should, if I can find it, I'll put it in if you find that clip, when she gets into After the Bridge and she just lets go and she hits this note that it brings me to tears every time. It's absolutely beautiful. Georgia on My Mind is absolutely beautiful. God Bless the Child, absolutely.
Oh,
Watching it in the concert that night was just,
I bet.
it was fantastic. She was absolutely fantastic. But I think she held back a little bit. I think she was a little bit of Medusa on it, that if she didn't let herself go as much. And I think it could have been slightly better had she done that. She did her own versions of them. But again, when she's in that live performance, something comes out in her that, she just goes somewhere else. She's in this moment. And maybe it's the crowd sometimes, you're feeding off each other.
Absolutely.
And if you're in the studio, you're not feeding off anyone else.
Well,
So maybe that's it.
I feel like the versions on the album are just a little studied. They're serious. They're very like clinical. I feel like my favorite recorded Annie Lennox old standard is "Keep Young and Beautiful" from Tifa. I like nowhere on this album does she sound like she's having as much fun as she had on that song.
And wouldn't it have been great if she had done a new version of it, or just a twist
Right.
on it?
Or let loose a little bit. Like it just seemed very studied.
Yeah.
Like, let it rip, girl. Like she did on the God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen.
It did well. It was a number one album for her on the jazz charts for a long time. So I think it did very well for her. Another thing, they put out a special edition, An Evening with Nostalgia.
Oh, the DVD?
Yeah. And I was actually very disappointed because, it was a special edition. And I was hoping that it was going to be the performance on the CD, on the audio. And it wasn't. I'm like, well, what was the point?
Right.
So kind of strange. Because you could have, you didn't need another version of it. But so sometimes I question things that record companies do, the artist.
What made that version different, Mark? An Evening in Nostalgia. What made it different from the original release?
Well, I think maybe they did include a DVD of the concert.
Yeah, there's a
about
DVD.
that.
Oh, okay.
But to me, it was. But if they said it, I'm like, yeah, but that's what I wanted, because she performed them just as the album was. She track by track.
Right.
So if you had done it as literally An Evening with Annie Lennox, and I just thought that would have been a great. So I'm not. I think the DVD was. Am I right about that? That the
Yeah.
DVD.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm so sad about these things because, years ago I could have told you not only what track was on the B side, I could have told you how long the song was.
Uh,
3 minutes and 57 seconds or whatever it would be. And now I'm
Do,
like, hey, it's 10 years ago. Can I remember?
do you want to know something, you guys? I've never seen Designing Women.
oh, well,
Oh, no
And I
way.
wrote for sitcoms in the 80s.
just
How
get
I
off this
avoided.
podcast and start with episode 1.
Absolutely.
No.
And
Oh,
and,
I think I saw bits and pieces of it, but no,
and stop at season 6 and 7.
Oh, yeah, when
I'm okay.
instead of
Yeah,
Charlene,
that
there was
was.
Carlene or whatever. It was
Yeah.
terrible.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to
And
ask you, did Steve Gaylor go to the Nostalgia Mark?
John
Yes.
did, right?
Yes, he did.
Because I have to tell you, there was that one that he sent me a message or called me or something and said, I have a leftover ticket. Can you fly down?
Oh.
And I was like, what? What? I have to go to work today. Yeah.
I got to go because of Steve, because I didn't get, there was a lottery and I
Yeah.
didn't get it. And he said to come on. So I flew from South Carolina, from as far as you could get on the East Coast, literally on the water, to LA. And I flew back the next day. And the concert, I was up till 11 o'clock. And then these fans took us to the famous hotel and the restaurant in LA. And so I was up. I was just dying to go to sleep because I was just so exhausted. Because I had to get up like some red eye flight to get to LA, and so it was a trip, man.
Did she do some of her hits, or did
I
she just
think
do
so, yeah.
nostalgia?
She did. She came back out for an encore, and she did "No More I Love Yous," "Sweet Dreams," "Why," and oh God, "Here Comes the Rain Again," maybe.
Oh, okay.
And so, you don't see it on the DVD. I give them big props when the editing. A young lady got up on stage in the middle of "No More I Love Yous," very drunk, I think.
Oh.
And came up and was like, she wanted to sing, "I want to sing with you." And Annie, as Annie's a little goofy sometimes, and she's like, "This is my night." And so finally, but it actually was a very scary moment in a way.
Yeah.
It took security far longer than it should have, because this person Annie was on the left side of the stage, and this person came from the right hand of the stage, and Annie was on the piano. It was all piano that she did. And, she got all the way up to the piano, and before anybody, these kind of things, the
They
world
happen fast.
living, it could have been a scary moment. I don't, these kind of things, security should stop people,
Right.
but you don't any of it. You don't see any of it on the DVD. And she did not record a second version of anything that night. They said at the beginning, so Annie may perform the entire concert again if she's not happy with it, or one song or two songs. And she didn't perform anything twice. She's like, "It's good, moving on."
Oh shit.
And so, and the DVD does have the 4 extra tracks. I'm
hits.
sorry, the fourth one. But she did, it was a good mix of stuff. I wish it'd been longer, but yeah.
The thing I did like "You Belong to Me," and I did like that the album ended with an up tempo. I like Mood Indigo not ending with something drab and dour. So I thought that was a nice little way to end the album. Besides Annie's instrumental album, that's kind of like where her career has left right now.
Mm-hmm.
So is there any other songs that anyone wants to mention on Nostalgia?
Oh.
All right, Mark, rank it, scale of 1 to 10. I know you're not giving this one a 10.
No, because I don't love, and there's nothing wrong with it. I don't love Mood Indigo, just in the sense of it's not a song I'm going to go play.
Okay.
And Strange Fruit is not a song I'm going to go play, because when I'm listening to music, I got to get in, I got to be in the mood for whatever I'm listening to.
Sure.
And it's too difficult. But I do adore September in the Rain. I love I Can Dream, Can't I? God, that's a gorgeous song. So, there's great stuff on it. I'm going to give it a 7,
Okay.
7.5 maybe, because, like I said, listening to her performances live, I think it was, she could have taken it to another level.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a strong album. Yeah, 7.5.
All right, David.
I'm gonna give it a 7. 7.
Lynn.
7.
Jim.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Mark. I'm gonna give it a 7.5, mainly because unlike Cornucopia, this is not an album that if I had some friends over, I would put on and play all the way through. You know, a couple of songs might be on like a mix list or a playlist. I'm showing my age there. I almost said mixtape. Um, a playlist, those songs would be on there, like September in the Rain, Georgia in My Mind, Memphis in June. God bless the child. I do like Indigo, so that would be on a mix list, on a
Yeah.
playlist for me. But yeah, it's not. I don't think it's got the power and the listenability that Cornucopia has. So 7.
And I think I'm gonna give it a 7 also. I think that's where it sits for me. It's certainly not a bad album. It's even good in some places, but it's it's not diva for me. Well, we can't sign off yet. There are some little odds and ends we should talk about. I know, Jim, you have to go soon, but Annie, did you? So she had Put a Little Love in Your Heart. What are some little odds and ends we should talk about just to, complete the discography? Was that a duet with Al Green?
Al Green,
Mm-hmm.
produced by Dave Stewart. So it's basically a Eurythmics song.
Okay, but it's
Assuming there was some reason that Eurythmics couldn't do it. And so Dave produced it. Dave put it all together. Annie and Al never met. They recorded it separately. They recorded the video separately. It all looks perfect, So it was basically a Eurythmics song. The B-side is a Great Big Piece of Love by the Spheres of Celestial Influence, which is one of the original names for possibly before they decided on Eurythmics. Thankfully, they did not decide to call themselves.
Aren't we glad of that?
The Spheres of Celestial Influence. But we should also say, Put a Little Love in Your Heart is Annie Lennox's biggest solo single in America.
Oh wow, and that's her first recording.
Solo, yes.
Yeah, her first solo recording.
Yes. So it should have been on the Annie Lennox collection,
Right.
but it wasn't. So,
but was it? It was from Scrooged. It was for the movie Scrooged. We should say that. And I think one of the reasons why it was filmed separately is Annie was pregnant, and I guess couldn't fly.
Yeah, definitely.
So she was in Los Angeles, and
she was pregnant with her first child, Daniel, which she lost in the last week or two of the pregnancy.
Well, no, it's stillbirth.
Stillbirth. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So then skipping forward. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's Put a Little Love. Was that song recorded during the Be Yourself Tonight era when they were doing like Stevie Wonder and Aretha Franklin and
no, it was recorded in 1988.
So it would have been after Savage, kind of.
After Savage and between We Two Are One. Yeah.
All right. Well, skipping way decades later, the most recent Annie Lennox release was her instrumental piano album, correct? That she came out with during COVID. Did anyone actually listen to it? Because I did not. I'm a bad fan.
Oh yeah, it's about. It's only 4 songs, and you need to be in the right mood. You need to be in a spa,
No.
You
And it
didn't
will,
be in a bar, is that what you said?
no, in a spa.
Oh,
If it's going to fit right in if you're in a spa.
okay.
And truthfully, it's hard to distinguish. I think they're all about. Am I wrong about this? They may be about 10 minutes long. Am I wrong
Yeah,
about that?
they're all very long.
They're
They're
all
not
very
they're not
long.
your typical 3 minute song.
Digital only, correct? Was it improv?
Digital only. And if you saw any of the House of Annie Lennox exhibits, there's a there's a section where you can look through a kaleidoscope, and there's music playing, and while you're doing it, and it reminded me of when I heard the album. It reminded me of some of that. I think it's the fourth track. That I particularly like on it, but they all meld together pretty much. It's a very she released it at the time when she was doing the exhibit in Massachusetts where she did sort of her and it's a big mound of dirt, and there's a piano on top of it, and there's all
Yeah.
trinkets through her life. Now I'll Let You Go. So it came out when that debuted. So it was sort of to go with that. So I'm assuming some of the music played with it. Again, if you're going to go to a spa and you want to be really relaxed, take that album with you. There's
What's it called, Mark?
I don't even know if I know how to pronounce it. Oh dear. Someone else help me.
Lepidoptera, Lepidoptera.
Yes, that's it.
All right. Well, are there any other odds and ends that we feel should be worth mentioning before we wrap up for the season?
Well, every time we say goodbye was, right before Diva on the Red Hot and Blue album,
Right.
Yeah.
which could have easily also fit on Nostalgia. Cole Porter could have easily fit on this album, same time period. So she did Live With Me and Be My Love.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was trying to find Tara, whatever it was, and
No.
I couldn't. Sorry.
What was it?
Never mind.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, my
Love
mistake.
Song for a Vampire. That's a great song from
Right.
Bram Stoker's Dracula. Love Song for a Vampire. That was released just after Diva, I think. And actually, it was a B-side for Little Bird, wasn't it?
Well, it was a double A side in England, so with Little Bird.
Okay.
So, and there's a brand new cover of that, by the way, by Bright Light, Bright Light.
Oh.
And I definitely would tell you to say there's two mixes on the single. It just came out a week ago, and it's a beautiful to me. It's a beautiful version. Very quiet, very soft. Totally different version than Annie's, but I think it's a really beautiful version. But just came out last week or so. So look that up. But that's that. Yeah, Love Song for a Vampire. That was my wedding song. My wife walked down the aisle to that.
Oh.
So yeah. So it was just the perfect song for that. What else? What else? Other songs? Anybody?
The ones from the Lord of the Rings movie. She
Yep.
had Use Well the Days and Into the West. Beautiful songs. Absolutely beautiful songs.
Which won her an Oscar?
And yes, yep. There's Mama, and I don't know where that came from.
And that's
she does a great version.
a Bjork song. Is that right? Bjork song cover?
I'm not positive.
I believe so. And there are two.
I think
there are two versions.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, there's one version on the Avengers soundtrack. That's the Avengers, not the Marvel. And then another version from Ain't Nothing But a She Thing.
Okay.
And so, of course, I don't know. I don't know what else.
And recently she had that new single out, right? That was a collaboration.
Oh, with Allison Russell,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super Lover. Yes.
And how was
Yeah.
that?
Um, Not what you would expect it to be from the title of the song. Um,
Yeah.
to me, it was a little slower. I mean, to me, it was kind of more. It was more in the line of something Andy would have done, maybe solo. It wasn't
Right.
something that was. I figured it would be something a little more upbeat, but I'd never heard of Allison Russell before, so I was just kind of guessing. And so there was a little bit of disappointment there, but I'm sure it's a really good song. Um, some of the other ones that she's got, Step by Step, that Whitney Houston stole from her. Let's see.
Well,
What else?
you do get Annie in the background, at least Annie singing Whitney Houston.
Yes. But do they give her credit for her? I don't for it. I don't think they do. But
The
um,
a European country single, I think it was Denmark or something, uh,
mhm.
had the single there was listed as Whitney Houston and Annie Lennox.
Oh,
It's the only
cool.
that I'm aware of.
Oh, great.
But
Okay, excellent.
yeah,
She did one. I don't know if this was with Santana. Hush, hush, hush,
oh yeah,
which is a good, which is a good song. Um, she did. Oh my goodness.
I feel like the Allison Russell one, that was from all, she was from the Brandy Carlisle camp. So when Annie Lennox was doing all those concerts with Joni
yes,
Mitchell, that's where she met Wendy and Lisa and Allison Russell and everybody, I think.
you're right. And there
Okay.
is talk that it could be a Grammy nominee.
Oh,
Oh wow. Okay.
Mm.
Then I'll
Not
go back and give that
not
another
pop,
listen.
but I think not a pop, not pop, but um,
Right.
and folk or something. I'm not sure. Um,
There's one called Dream Angus. I'm not sure where that came from, and I'd never heard of that song before, and I couldn't even tell you what the song's about, but
I
I
think
do
the
really love
tradition.
listening
I
to that
think it's a
song.
traditional folk, a traditional Scottish song.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
Okay.
is.
Trying to see what else is on this list I have here that we haven't mentioned. Um, Days of the Ring. Is there a third song from the Lord of the Rings that she did called Days of the Ring?
No, I think that's just just on one of the many Lord of the Rings special editions, and it's just a long. It's just the song with added orchestra. It's not anything different. The big disappointment in me is that Use Well the Days has never been issued on a special audio edition. They've had so many special editions of Lord of the Rings soundtracks, but the only way you can find it is on a DVD.
Right.
And thank God they played the whole song. We'd never even have it because apparently it was Peter Jackson. They had done the song, and Peter Jackson said, "That's not what I'm looking for to end the movie." Which is great because I don't think Annie had anything to do with the writing of it, which she did with Into the West, because you
Right.
don't win an Oscar unless you are one of the people who wrote the song. The
Right.
performer doesn't win the Oscar, the writers of the song do. So Annie won an Oscar thing, but I don't think she actually wrote "Use Well the Days," so she wouldn't have won a Grammy.
Okay, okay,
Not a Grammy, but
that's yeah, that's new news. She does a song called Heaven. I think it's a remake of the Psychedelic Furs song that did
Oh,
not
right.
make the Medusa album. Yeah.
and it should have
And
made the
then
Medusa album. It should have. It's a great song.
yes, yes, it is. It is a great song. And then my little last piece of input is on the Diva video album. Kind of in the middle is kind of like a little an instrumental piece. It's kind of like an intermission type song, but you can hear her kind of humming in the background. So it's obviously, or I don't know if she's playing the instruments or whatever, but that if you've never heard it, go and watch that video
Okay.
album. It's like the middle. I can't remember what song it comes after. But it's an absolutely beautiful, almost mesmerizing type of song. I titled it "Remember" because you hear like kids laughing in the background, and the video itself is kind of she's in a park and there's lots of birds and she's dancing by a fountain and So there is kind of a video that goes with it, but it's a
I kind of
song
remember
that's
that.
not, yeah, it's not been released on anything else that I know of. And so
Yeah, on the
that's a very cool
the
song.
Diva video album, right?
Yes, and it's not even credited on the track list, I don't believe.
Yeah. I think it may be. I don't.
Is
I
it?
think that would have been great if they had included that on a. Well, there's not been a Diva special edition.
Right.
You know, who knows? Who knows?
All right. Well, we did it. We went from English Summer all the way through Allison Russell. And I do hope Annie releases more music, because I'd love for us, nothing more than for us to meet again talking about a new Annie Lennox album, track by track. It's been such a pleasure. I love that we have our group chat, so we will always be in touch forever, even until the new Annie Lennox album. Any closing thoughts on the Annie Lennox discography, Eurythmics?
I just want to say how great it's been getting to know all of you.
Oh,
And it's these have been very long podcasts, but they've been very enjoyable. I've really enjoyed discussing all of this with you all. So keep in touch, please. And
yeah.
like you said, if Annie will give us another album, we'll get back together.
Yep. And if she gives us another
Maybe she's
tour.
watching.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah, it's
All right,
been
my
great.
friends. Well, I will see you in the chats. Much love to everybody. Thanks for meeting tonight.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for doing this,
Bye,
Jeremy.
everybody.
Bye.
Take care. Be safe.